The loudest person in the room often runs a deficit of real authority, but the quietest person runs an asset deficit by keeping their genius completely undocumented. Volume isn't a true indicator of authority, but neither is staying hidden. I have a solution for that. Welcome back to Built to Sway. I'm Dana Hewling, the low-key visionary, and today we're dissecting the asset deficit in trading hype for the silent salesman. Let's dive in. One thing I've noticed is that the loudest person often doesn't do well in rooms filled with peers from their own industry, but they shine around those with little or no knowledge of their expressed expertise. No shade, but I'm sure you can probably think of someone that fits that narrative. They are loud with vibrant, expressive personalities, speak with a confidence that impresses most, and present themselves very, very well. They also tend to be very social, attending a plethora of events. It may sound like I'm just describing all extroverts, but there's something entirely different happening here. These people are performing authority, but that performative mask gets quickly lifted when in the presence of experts within their field. These types of people are rewarded plentifully in the personality economy. The personality economy is what fuels most of social media and rewards those who can perform loudly, consistently, and convincingly enough to gain followers and influence. This dynamic is what tends to scare many experts from building authority and visibility. Depth is repelled by the shallows, and the shallows are uncomfortable embracing true depth. This means that many introverted, neurodivergent, or otherwise low-key leaders get overlooked, ignored, or just don't participate. Why would I, as an expert, waste my time and energy performing when there's work to be done, problems to solve, and peace to be enjoyed? The short answer is you shouldn't. You don't need to perform authority when you already possess it, but you do need to engineer the foundation that allows you to stand in it. Enter the silent salesman. A silent salesman isn't a person, it's permanent infrastructure. Your silent salesman is a collection of highly calibrated assets that lives inside your digital perimeter. They work 24 hours a day and communicate your undeniable genius asynchronously. The final composition of your silent salesman will vary depending on your industry and your goals, but the core consists of an intentionally structured website, a fully executed LinkedIn profile, and your preferred asynchronous pipelines. Let's examine each pillar with a bit more depth. First up, your website. Most websites are designed like noisy digital flea markets, cluttered with pop-ups, generic portfolios, and desperate calls to action, begging the user to book a call. Your website shouldn't be a brochure. Although it doesn't have to be overly extensive, it should serve as a sovereign filter. An authoritative website is an intentional vault designed to showcase your core perspective, establish your category of one, and quietly separate high-intent enterprise assets from low-intent casual lookers before they ever have a chance to email you. Next, we have your fully executed LinkedIn profile. The personality economy tells you that LinkedIn is a stage where you must perform daily to stay relevant. If you don't post 3 times a day, you don't exist. A fully executed profile treats LinkedIn not as a stage, but as a permanent digital monument. When an industry leader or prospective client searches for your name after a referral, they shouldn't see a manic timeline of daily thoughts. They should see an unshakable, fully optimized registry of your authority, credentials, and frameworks. It's designed to settle the question of your genius once and for all. And no, you don't need to post daily to build that monument. Now, can you build your presence outside of LinkedIn? Sure. If your audience can be found there and you don't mind the additional effort, go ahead. But just be aware that, as I mentioned, other platforms reward participation in the shallows and can sometimes not know how to distribute depth. It's not impossible, it's just more taxing, which for a low-key life, we're just trying to avoid. That brings us to the final pillar, your preferred asynchronous pipeline. That is how prospects and leads get in touch with you. To be very honest, the industry standard for client intake is completely broken. It forces experts and teams into a relentless cycle of manual outreach, endless DMing, and unpaid 45-minute discovery calls or coffee chats that drain your battery. An asynchronous pipeline is an operational airlock. It flips the power dynamic while reinforcing your authority. This infrastructure utilizes intelligent onboarding, clear qualification parameters, and diagnostic checkpoints to let the market filter and qualify themselves, all without your constant supervision. This setup utilizes positive strategic friction to help filter out tire kickers and those less likely to close. The industry advocates for a frictionless gate and a high volume of leads with a low close rate. I advocate for the exact opposite. Less time wasted chasing unqualified prospects and more space dedicated to those who deeply value your expertise. If this sounds detached from the real world, let's step inside my own perimeter. I don't just teach this infrastructure, I run my entire enterprise on it. Let's look at what my silent salesman looks like for both BID and the low-key visionary ecosystems. BID and the low-key visionary are both entities within the brand architecture and silent infrastructure space, but are intentionally separate as they have distinct audiences and positioning and therefore have distinct silent salesmen. Their main overlap is me. BID is an agile executive suite focused on brand architecture and stewardship for mid-market enterprises that is companies grossing between 10 million and 100 plus million in annual revenue. BID prioritizes the company and operates under done-for-you builds and fractional CBO models. LKV, on the other hand, is me, Dana. Through LKV, I prioritize individual leaders or professionals providing consulting, do-it-yourself frameworks, and done-with-you coaching. Starting with the first pillar for website, they both showcase insights regarding the respective solutions and specialties while highlighting each unique perspective. As a B2B enterprise, BID goes far beyond a standard website. It serves as a digital flagship, housing our briefings, our intelligence balls, and our IOR ledger. Additionally, we also highlight our security standards here as well. LKV is mainly B2C, and the website is e-commerce driven, allowing straightforward access to sign up for our weekly briefings or access the vault. Here, interested professionals or leaders may also begin the process of applying for an upcoming lab cohort. When you shift the lens to the LinkedIn monument, BID maintains its own corporate perimeter, and we share updates at least weekly there. My personal profile does double duty, representing both the architect and the steward, similar to what I do on this program. I try to prioritize LKV with about 66% of my weekly posts geared towards more individual leaders and professionals since BID has much of the enterprise content handled. But this may vary depending on what's going on. LKV also has a presence on Threads, which serves as my field logs, and a light presence on Instagram. However, LinkedIn is the primary for both due to our respective target audiences. Finally, a look at how we anchor our asynchronous pipelines. Everything routes to the websites as much as possible. Not only does this help with discovery, but it also enforces the standard we want to set while protecting our boundaries while managing intake from multiple channels. The forms we use for each are secured with Cloudflare turnstile and structured to help leads provide key insights early in the process, which helps with vetting. For example, BID has revenue filters and only accepts submissions from company email addresses. A brief note on the positive strategic friction I mentioned. All of BID gigs have a higher level of friction except for subscriptions to the monthly briefings. For LKV, there is intentionally low friction for Signal subscribers and vault purchases. The friction increases for lab applications. Why am I okay with some areas having less friction for the visitor or client than others? The answer comes down to three things: price point, intent, and involvement. For low or no price items, yes, you do want to make things easier. The same goes for items that don't require much or any involvement from you or my team to ensure their quality. The exception is when intent needs to also be factored in, which is the case of our intelligence vault. While those assets are open access, they are proprietary, and the friction of a form fill prevents our proprietary assets from being scraped by automated AI engines. As is our standard, I'm not going to leave you with a laundry list of low tier tasks. You already know what the blueprint requires. Your directive before the next business week opens is simple: audit your three pillars. Look at your website, your LinkedIn profile, and your intake pipelines through the lens of positive strategic friction. Decide right now if you're going to continue running an asset deficit in the shelves or if you are ready to let a silent salesman protect your peace. If you pull back the curtain and realize your infrastructure needs immediate hardening, the pathways to our perimeter are already open. For leaders executing a self-guided build, Module 1 of the Visibility Vault includes a step-by-step breakdown of the architecture of the silent salesman. If you are an individual professional seeking close proximity guidance, you can submit an application for our next collab cohort. And if you are a senior executive running a mid-market enterprise ready for a fully engineered build, you can request a strategic partnership with BID. Every resource, every gate, and every alignment application is securely housed at buildtosway.com. That's buildtosway.com. From now on, your genius will not be hidden by a deficit in your foundation. Just be intentional about the build. Until next time, the build continues. Stay high key.